stories that have happened during that day that you're not supposed to miss. Among the stories we have today that you're not supposed to miss, we're going to talk about the poor performance of the students around the country, Uganda, because the reports are showing that 70% of the students fail to qualify to get the suppose they fail to get a mark that take them to the next level, that is to say from P7 to senior 4 to senior 6 to join campus. And today we are going to talk with teachers, students and experts to tell us where the problem is. We talked with Mr. Hope, a lecturer at Makerere University Business School, and this is what he said. Good afternoon, sir. I'm happy to be with you. I want you to talk with my dear viewers and you tell them your names and the school you're teaching. And we know currently the schools are in holidays, but you can tell them and we start our topic today.
My name is Seranja Bob. I'm a lecturer at MOOCs. I also mentor kids at Kalere Primary School. So roughly I serve a master's at EGO. Yes, that's how Uganda is.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hope. And our discussion today will talk about the performance of our students. And first of all, what are the causes of performance of students?
First and foremost, there are many reasons, but among them would be people don't concentrate in class. There are many distractions. We're in a digital world. One of them is TikTok. TikTok has affected students so much. TikTok is another disease. Then also, of course, students don't concentrate in class. You're teaching, people are playing games. You're teaching, people are discussing other stuff. So that has been a very big reason why I expect performance to be good. But also in the long run, the family backgrounds of these students are not quite good. A student comes to class, think about school fees. Some never ate supper. So in the long run, what would you teach a student when they are hungry? You get it? Wrangles at home, family issues. So all these things affect the students' performance. But to sum it all, I wouldn't conclude and say it's only these few. There are many reasons out there. But the fear that I've spoken out are a major problem.
And yes, there's the fear that you're talking about, that students are not concentrating in the digital world of TikTok. How are we going to solve this? Because the performance of the students is totally alarming to the country, Uganda. The performance is totally bad.
True. And these things, you can't eliminate them. You have to embrace them. So what do we do? Me as a parent, I limit my time, or I limit the time my kids use their phones, or I limit them access to certain things. You get it? Then as a parent, I make sure my family wrangles don't involve kids. In other words, I sort things in the bedroom with my wife. You get it? So this has helped my kids to concentrate in class. Generally, they are good, they're doing good. So I'm sure parents have to think about these things also, and also limit excess use of this social media, TikToks, and the time they spend on phone. You get it? This would increase their concentration in class. But rather, they would use even those platforms to study more, but they're always like. So I would rather parents advise or cut off some things to these kids. Yes.
Thank you so much. Well, Mr. Hope is saying that one of the major causes as to why students are performing poorly, actually, he's talking with the concept of university students, and he's saying they see the uniforms, and when he's teaching, or when teachers are teaching, these students are always on TikTok, they're on Facebook, they're on Twitter, they are what? They don't concentrate totally. That's why they end up getting pretext, and the performance is always not good. And he has said that how are we going to solve this? And he's saying that one of the things that we are going to do to improve those students are going to improve the performance in class. He's saying that we are going to regulate on the way students are using their phones, and we are going to get other students. They are going to tell us why they are performing poorly, and they are performing not to the expectation of the country, because totally the performance is not good. And from there, we didn't only get the teacher, but we also got the students to get their side as to why the performance is not good, and this is what they said because they were with our reporter. I've got a student She's going to talk to us. She's going to tell us that as to why they are performing poorly or the performance of the students is not very good, and she's going to tell us what we are going to do to improve it. Yes, dear. Good afternoon. What is your name?
My name is Nasari Rosary.
Yes, Nazaria. What are the causes of poor performance among students in schools?
We have inadequate training. Like most of the teachers are unprofessional. We have inadequate building, like classrooms. Yeah, they are not enough. You find yourself that many students start their through windows. When you come late, you have to send outside. And another thing is, I think coming late for the students. Yeah, they come late when the teachers already started teaching. And you find that they find that when the teachers started teaching and they have missed
Some information.
yes.
How are we going to solve all these issues to improve on the performance of the students?
The administration should try to employ professionals.
Professional teachers.
Yes, and increase on the classrooms and adjusting the time when the lecture is supposed to be.
So that every student can come in time for the lecture.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Prosper. She's saying the causes of poor performance of the students. She's saying one, it is students come late in class. Secondly, the teachers are not professional. And thirdly, the classes are not enough. And she's saying to end all these causes, one of the solutions is students have to spend time in class. Second, they have to adjust a certain time where, as in the timetable, where students have to enter into classes. And thirdly, she's saying at least the government should try to train these teachers before them starting to teach the students, because if these lecturers are coming to classes and they are not professional, of course they are not going to teach exactly what they are supposed to teach, and they end up even making the students to fail. It has been a very good time to have this topic or this discussion with the students, teachers, professionals, talking about the poor performance of the students, because 70%, as I said, 70% of the students fail to get the qualifying marks to join another level of studying. That is to say, from P7 to Senior 4 to Senior 6, they fail. And as you're going to see on your screens that out of 35, 33 students, 33% they get second grade and 24% they get first grades. And we've seen from the expert that he was saying that rural schools, they perform poorly, and he gave us the reasons that I don't want to repeat, and the urban schools perform very well because of the reasons he said that I won't repeat. It has been a very good time. I'm a senior morning Y.T.V, where dreams meet reality. To join this discussion, put a hashtag on our social media pages, that is Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. Just put a hashtag ED, Education Matters. Leave a space, put Y.T.V. You join the discussion and you tell us as to why the students are not performing to the expectation of the country, because education is a key to our students, and if they are performing poorly, then it is alarming. Thank you so much. Nice time. And with all that we've heard from the teachers, we've heard from the students, and we've got one expert to tell us the major causes of poor performance among our students in the country, Uganda, and this is what he said. Mr. Otumba John, he's an expert in this. He's going to tell us the causes of poor performance and how we are going to improve this, because the performance of our students in Uganda is very alarming, and he's going to tell us where the problem is. We're going to talk with our dear viewers. You tell them your names, your position here, and we start our discussion today.
You're welcome. I'm John Joseph the Deputy Head of Department Business. And then right here in his office, I'm the Senate representative, meaning I represent the staff in Senate. Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Otumba. Today we are going to talk about poor performance of our students in our country, Uganda. And first of all, the dear viewers would like to know, because one student may be qualifying with the results and he may say or she may see that is it a good performance, poor performance? What is poor performance?
Well, I think poor performance is, should I say it's a broader term? Because when you say poor performance, we look at it maybe ideally in the education, the formal education. But when you go to informal education, I think it is not like poor performance. Because what we want is the skill, not the grades. Now when you come to the formal education, people look at the grades as performance. Okay, so poor performance, they look at someone who has really failed to perform in an examination. Yes, and then when you look at these other people who have scored maybe a good aggregate, go to the next level of education, that's what people consider as good performance. But I think when you look at the performance, it may a little bit differ. How students perform in primary, secondary, I think the factors tend to differ. When you look at primary and secondary, I think the performance generally, if I'm to say, it is common in the village schools where students really fail to perform well.
Exactly.
When you look at the statistics which come from the Ministry of Education after every examination, you realize that students who perform are students who are in urban area and in full study in the urban areas, in urban schools, compared to the other ones who go to rural schools. Now, I think the main issue with our schools in the villages, in the rural areas, is one, it is commitment from students, and then two, we also look at the input from the parents, which is not the case with urban schools. And then I think the other side, on the side of the schools, or specifically on the side of the teachers, morale. When you look at our teachers in areas, because of the motivation, you imagine someone having cassava as breakfast compared to one having eggs for breakfast. This good. This high-end schools. So at the end of the day, even the performance will match. The determinant of performance can partly be on the side of motivation. So these teachers in the urban areas, because they're well motivated, they put in a lot of time, and they do a lot for learners compared to these other schools in rural areas. Yes.
And could it be only the reason as to why students are not performing very well?
Well, there could be other minor factors, but it's largely personal commitment from the students themselves. When some of us study in these rural areas, you imagine you go to class, you go home, you don't even have time to look at your books. You just leave the books there. You're supposed to be in the garden, you're supposed to be grazing cows, you the girls, you're supposed to be in the kitchen. There is totally no time for you to look at your books. There's no time for you to even to have homework, and in any case, the homework is not given to learners. Yes, what you have is what was taught in class. So anything for you to try at home, it's not there, which is not the case with urban schools. One, teachers are there teaching. When these learners go home, they're also given homework. Their parents are also there willing to help them. Early in the morning, they're off to schools, which is not the case with rural schools. When you look at even the time they go to schools, they go very late. And no one is bothered why even the teachers themselves have given up. They are not all that motivated. So I look at the key issue here is motivation. When teachers are motivated, it translates to good performance. But where there is no motivation, I think it is the root cause of the poor performance in those areas.
All right. You're saying that one of the causes and the major causes is motivation. And how are we going to improve this? Or how are we going to improve all these causes that you've told us?
Well, the major cause is motivation. But I said there also are the minor factors contributing to this poor performance. Yes. Now, I think there's a lot that has to be done. One, government has to address the issue of motivation. Yes, teachers have to be motivated. Teachers have to be, at least the working environment must be conducive for them to enjoy their work. And then I think parents should also play their role. Parents should also come on board to try to see how best they can help their learners. Yes. And then I think, apart from the motivation, I think there's also a need for the government to see how they can equip these rural schools with materials. Yes, should keep them with library. They should be able to the library. And then when you go to secondary schools, I think they should also have these internet connections. We have moved away from students going to library. Now everything is on internet. I think this internet facilities have to be available to all these schools to help them compete with the urban schools. Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Otumba. Well, we've heard from an expert on education. They're saying that one of the major causes of poor performance in schools is motivation, and he's saying that teachers in rural areas and compared to the teachers in urban areas, those of rural areas are not motivated. He's giving us an example that they don't. Someone may go to the class when he has not got breakfast, he has to go to the garden, he has to struggle with the family. Yet these urban teachers are getting everything in time. Students are really well equipped in the libraries. They have internet, and which is not appearing to the rural areas. And when we go to the statistics of Uganda, they show that rural schools are not performing very well, as he has said. And he has said that how are we going to improve this? By doing this, parents are going to play their role, and the government is going to put more learning equipment to the schools, the libraries in these rural areas, so that they can also get the same level of those students who are in urban areas. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. And with this, I want to thank you for tuning in at Y.T.V